Thank you. And good morning, everybody. My name is Wade Gale. I'll be one of your drivers to today's session. Hey, thank God it's Friday, TGIF. And I hope everybody had a good work week and is looking forward to either a restful or a wonderful weekend. I'll be working with Toyi today. Usually on our run out, today's our getaway day. It's usually a short session. So I just want to let everybody be aware of this. As we had heard previously, we were talking about multifamily changes and conversion. We're going to do a short video on document custodian transfer and of course, we're going to try and mention those resources again. So if we're not around, you can actually find help in other places to help you with your daily tasks. Multifamily changes and conversions. We're going to look at the conversion types. We're going to mortgage modification and the mortgage increase/decrease. And as I go through this with the AE team, if something is missing and you need to interject, don't hesitate to just say, wait, hold up. Let us go into this direction and continue the conversation if something is missing in the slides. Okay, a conversion loan pool will convert to the permanent loan, or that's a project loan pool upon completion of the construction period and when the final construction loan draw is to be delivered or issued. There are two ways to submit a multifamily conversion. You have the conventional method and you have the modernized method. There are two ways. You have the conventional method and the modernized method. And just a note, all construction loan pool must convert to a project loan pool. That's a PN. Just another heads up. All construction loan pool must convert to a project loan pool. Okay, we talked about the types. Let's talk about the type 3 conversion. That's the conventional way. Type 3 conversion, the conventional way. And I know I'm emphasizing certain things because there's always a poll coming up. Type 3 conversion. What is a type 3 conversion? A type 3 conversion is a submission of the PN pool with the manual return of the CLC positions with issuance to the permanent loan security position through the Federal Reserve Bank. That's the FRBNY. Whoever holds or owns all the CLCs must return the positions to the Federal Reserve for cancellation so the project loan position can be issued and delivered. So again, this is a conventional method. Conversion is you have to make sure whoever owns all the position must return them to the Fed so they can be canceled, so the project loan position can be issued and delivered. So that's type 3 conversion, the conventional method. Type 3 conversion requirement. When must an issuer submit the type 3 conversion? If there isn't a final draw, if the issuer advances or funds are in the minimum security amount of $1,000, if the final draw is greater than the scheduled principal collected and loan commence amortization. Issuers cannot request a type 3 conversion with draw issuance in the same month. For example, if an issue, the last draw in April, you must convert in May, not April. So you cannot issue the pool and do the conversion in the same month. And Michelle and team, is there anything you want to add on this screen? Or can I just go on?
You can go on. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Oh. Type 5 conversion, of course, we talk about conventional, that was the type 3. Now we're talking about the modernized method that's a type 5 conversion. What is a type 5 conversion? A type 5 conversion is when the final draw and the PN conversion are submitted together for issuance. The final CLC is delivered for settlement And 3 business days later, the CLC is automatically canceled when the PN is delivered to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York for settlement. And again, whoever holds and owns a CLC must return the position to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York for cancellation, so the project loan position can be issued and delivered. So the Type 5 conversion is known as the modernization method, and that's when you'll have to issue the final draw and also do the PN conversion, and both are submitted together. You set up your final draw, you make sure that pass all the edits. Then once that edit is done, you go in and set up the PN, make sure the edit has passed also. Then you submit both pools, both the PN and the sale together for the Type 5. Type 5 conversion steps. These are some of the steps that we think you might want to take when you're actually doing a Type 5. Issuers contact BNY Mellon to obtain investors of record for the CL pool. BNY Mellon contacts the Fed for dealer/investor details, forward information to the issuer. The final draw/PN conversion, Type 5, submission is received by BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon contact the Fed to send a broadcast message to the dealers and investor regarding the conversion. And the CL PN conversion is approved for issuance and settlement. So those are the steps we have in terms of to get that Type 5 conversion issue. Michelle and team, anything on the conventional method or the modernization method of conversion before I move on?
Yeah, Wade, I think I just wanted to add that the emphasis is on the Type 5, that the CL and the PN are submitted at the same time for the Type 5 conversion.
Yes.
So I think just to stress that it's not done separately.
Okay. No, it's not. And the system would not allow it to. It has to have both pieces to go as a pair. Okay, modifications. Yes. Okay, thanks. Modification. Must contact Jenny Mae for when you're going through this, and you must have the investor approval is required for modification, and must be a manual pool submission. Increase or decrease of mortgage amount. Again, this is what you have to do. You have to contact BNY Mellon for system parameters. Can be done through MFPDM or GenNet for most submissions. Construction loan pool in GenNet must remain in GenNet. HUD's approval for mortgage increase/decrease is required, and investor acknowledgement may be required. And you just want to make sure, we always want to put the resource there. So you want to check out the GenNet on the web, multifamily training manual, or also the MFPDM issuer user guide. It depends on where you have that pool currently located. And I know before we go onto the pool, as Michelle had mentioned to me, there might be new users out there, and through the course of the last 2 days, we have been mentioning GenNet. GenNet was and still is, but it's a legacy system. GenNet is when everything had started. That's where the users were actually doing their multifamily pools in the GenNet space. GenNet has been out there for a long time. I think I'm going to whisper it and tell you the age. I think it's from 1992. But later down, I think it's after 96, 97, we start adding the multifamily pools. Those were pools that were manual once upon a time. So the data used to come into us. We used to process them and enter the information on the system. Now, most of these pools are electronic. There's a couple, 1 or 2, because of certain nuances in the multifamily space. A pool has to maybe up to per GNMA, we recommend them to send the pool in manual. The manual processing or amount of pools we get from manual is very small now. So GenNet was a legacy system. And then in 2018, June of 2018, was when we transitioned to MFPDM. So that's why sometimes we do still mention GenNet, because a bunch of pools are still in GenNet, especially if you're doing your draws. You have to finish up. If that pool initially started in GenNet, it must finish in GenNet. So if you're a new person to the program Multifamily, you're going to hear the word GenNet, but in terms of your daily processing, you're going to do your pools all in the MFPDM space, the PDM module you will use to do your processing. You won't have to do any processes on GenNet because you didn't have any initial pools in GenNet. So for the ones who currently have pools in GenNet will need to finish out that process in the GenNet space. But every initial pool right now starts off in MFPDM, not the GenNet space. It's a rare occurrence if we have to get authorization from GNMA to issue a pool in GenNet because of the nuances of that setup of that pool. But we try to make sure everything can come through MFPDM. And I know there's still a couple pools that are manual, and we're working with GNMA to see if possible, we can get all the pools going through the MFPDM space instead of an issuer has to send in a manual pool because of certain elements in that pool that is not available in the current applications. Michelle, our team, does anybody have anything to add, or that was okay in the explanation?
So, Wade, before the poll, first of all, good morning, everyone. This is Michelle Murphy. I have a few things I want to clarify and give emphasis to. So whoever is controlling the slides, we may want to go back. But I'm
sure, I can do what? Where do you want to go?
That's just me. Okay, so let's go back to type 3 and type 5. So what came first, type 3?
Sure.
Let's do type 3 first. So the emphasis on type 3 that I would say is that type 3 is the one where we would need 100% of all the CLCs to be returned before we can issue the PLC. So we need 100% of the investors to return the positions for the construction loans before we can issue the PN pool. And then also it is Wade, if issuers need to find out who holds the CLC, they just contact BNY Mellon. Is that correct?
Yes, Michelle. They can we would rather them send an email to the GNMA email, genmay1@bnymellon.com. And through that, if they are familiar with Yvonne Mona or Narita Bradshaw, they can add them there. If they're not, they just send the information through that email, and just in your request, you just want to put you need the investor information, and our team will get that for you.
Right. So just wanted to make emphasis on that. Also regarding the type 3, we always get this question, especially at the end of the month, or especially if you're doing a type 3 conversion on the last business day of the month. People want the QSIP, and a lot of people get the QSIP from the multifamily database. I'm just here to emphasize that I don't have the QSIP. If I see it when you see it, so we don't see it in the program office before you do, we cannot give the QSIP or the PN pool until we convert. And we can't convert on a type 3 until we have all of our CLCs returned. So that's one of the reasons why you don't see, as opposed to the type 5 conversion, it is a slight delay with the QSIP for the PN pool, because we're not releasing that PN until we get all our positions. So yes. I wanted to make emphasis on that. Okay, so now let's go to the type 5. Oh, go back one more, Wade. Yes. So on the bottom, I want to make sure it's clear. So the type 5 is conversion is the new version, and that's the one where the investor can be very lazy. They don't have to do
Mm.
anything. So that's the one they love. So no one is returning anything. I think it says on this, uh, it reads on the slide like the CLCs are being returned. No, the Ginnie Mae, where I'm just going to say Ginnie Mae to make it simple for the issuers, we are deleting the temporary security positions, and we're canceling it. Oh, it tells you. Okay, we're canceling it 3 days. So yes,
Yes.
the investor is not returning any positions on a type 5 conversion. They love it because they don't have to do anything. Their construction loan positions just disappear, and voila, they have the new PN pool positions in 3 days. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that. Okay. Next, let's go to the next slide. Wait, I'm so sorry.
No need to be sorry, Michelle.
Oh,
It's all a team
okay.
effort. So we're looking for you to give us the
The
information.
one for modifications, I think, is the one I'm.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so if you have a modification, you don't necessarily have to contact Ginnie Mae. And this is really modifications at conversion is what this slide probably really should say. So if you have a simple modification, which be like a mortgage increase or decrease, you don't necessarily have to contact Ginnie Mae because both our systems should be MFPDM that you're working on. But if you have an old pool and it's still on Ginnie Mae,
Hmm.
both MFPDM and Ginnie Mae can handle mortgage increases. So intervention by
Yes.
Ginnie Mae is not required. An investor
Okay.
approval is not required if you have. It depends on the percentage of your increase. So if you just have like a 1 or 2% increase or something that has modified your loan a little bit at conversion, you don't need Ginnie Mae intervention. Now, if you come and you got a mortgage decrease and you've already paid out the loan, paid out the securities past the decrease, and you did something with the mortgage rate and about 2, 3, 4 things, then you need to contact me. So then you would need to contact Ginnie Mae, and in that case, the pool conversion may be a manual pool. Yes, but usually it is in, I think, the trade agreements that issuers have at least up to like 5% that you can increase. So I don't want to scare everyone and say just because you have some slight modification at conversion that it needs to be a manual pool. That's not necessarily true. Okay.
Yeah, so what we'll do, thanks for this information, I'll make sure we update those slides and vet them with you. So if in the next session we have the most updated information.
Okay, that's great. Any questions from what I said because I know I kind of said a lot there. Any questions? You could just put it in the chat. You could do a private chat. You could do whatever it pleases you.
What's the private
Okay,
chat,
wait,
Michelle?
I think
Text you?
you can no, if you go to my name and then you go
Okay.
over, it says start a private chat.
I'm just messing with you.
I know. It's a DM, right? So if you could just go ahead with the poll now. I think it's time for the
Yes.
poll.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have our first poll, and during the process I was emphasizing a couple of things. So let's do the first poll. The first thing, there are 4 ways to submit a conversion, a multifamily conversion. Is that true or is it false? Or I can't be bothered voting for this. So there are four ways to submit a conversion. Wade Gale, that guy had gone through those slides. So did he mention there were four ways, or how many ways? Is that a true or false? And I think people did get that one. So far we have 100% true, false, and that is correct. The answer is false. The answer is false. Can we show the second question, please? Type 3 conversion is known as the draw method, the conventional method, or the modernized method. And there was a reason why I was there emphasizing some of those things while I was going through a couple of the slides. Type 3 conversion is known as the draw method, the conventional method, or the modernized method. And I'll just give it a little bit more time. And majority of the group did say conventional method, and that is correct. Next slide, please. Or next poll, I should say. There's only two on that one. Okay, here's another one. For an increase or decreased mortgage, HUD approval for the mortgage interest rate is required. Of course, Michelle says it's not a must, but we had set up this question. Right now, the answer is going to be, we were looking for the answer of true because we're going to make some adjustment to this poll question for next iteration of training.
Yeah, go ahead, Krista.
Just to clarify, all mortgage increase and decreases require HUD's approval. And then what Michelle had touched on earlier was increases or decreases that do or don't require Jenny May approval. So there is that difference.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. So the answer is they're true. Thank you for your participation in the poll. We just do these little polls just to emphasize certain knowledge checks and also just to check who's paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be doing this and you could be watching something or doing something else. So we just want to make sure you're a little bit engaged with what we're doing. Thank you again. Okay. No, I think I'll do that now, and then before I go into this, I'll just kind of do some recap, and then Michelle and team can also jump in before we go on to the document custodian transfer, just kind of close out the multifamily thing. The first part we're done early on Monday. We talk about prerequisites. Make sure you want to have your pool numbers. Make sure you want to have your commitment amount. Make sure your master agreements are complete to actually start doing your pools. And make sure you have access to My Jenny May. That's the only way you're going to log in as if you're an end user. Make sure your org admin sets you up with the appropriate access so you can get in and process your pools. And again, pools are still done in JennyNet, but that's the pools. If it had initially started in JennyNet, you're going to finish in JennyNet. If you're a new person coming on board, you have to use MFPDM. That's where all initial pools are now originated from, the MFPDM space. So again, another emphasis is going to be on master agreement renewals. Master agreement renewal starts on August 1st. No, I'm lying. That's not true, Wade. On October 1st, which is just around the corner. So if you are not the one who get this going and you have to tell the group that handle the master agreement, just inform them again that renewal starts on October 1st. And I always encourage users to try and get the renewals in as early as possible. So that's a checklist. Yeah, that's off your checklist. You don't want to wait until the last week in December, because That's chaos. On our side, on GenMay's side, to get in touch with somebody, that person in your shop might be on a Christmas vacation, so they're not able to go in and approve the transmission. So you just want to make sure you get the master agreement renewals up early, because you don't want come 2024, you want to start doing your pools and you have no master agreements renewal, because renewal is telling Jenny that I'm using the same accounts that I use for 2023, I'll be using for 2024. And remember, if Jenny does not push that time frame out, if you have to do your master agreements for 2024 because they were not renewed, you would have to go in and enter all those original documentation again. You'll have to enter like you're doing it for the first time. So to avoid that, try and meet the deadline. It starts October 1st and it ends December 31st. Throughout the period, we usually send reports to the account executives. So if they need to touch bases with their particular issue to remind them of the process, they'll do that. So we inform the AEs on a regular basis. I think it's a weekly basis of who are the outstanding issuers who have not performed their master agreement. So try and do it in the appropriate time frame. A couple of the things we had mentioned was recall and delete. And I know it's a little bit different because in the GennyNet space, if you're still doing pools there, we delete a pool. When you do a delete, it's a delete of a transmission from the network. Now in the MFPDM space, we introduced the word recall for anything that was submitted that you need to bring back. So you can a pool that you submit, you can recall. A pool that was certified by the custodian, you can recall up to 12 noon the next day. So those are the difference. You want to know the difference between those things. And also in MFPDM, we talk about running the business rule. We don't have that if you're new to MFPDM, that's all you know. But in the ones who are doing the conversion from GennyNet to MFPDM, running the business rule is the same thing like applying the GenMay edits. So just want to make sure some of those things you get used to, and always encourage you to read the user manual, check out the QRCs if that works best for you. So you'll get the information there. Always utilize your account executive if you're not clear on anything in terms of what's in the guide, you have read something. In terms of the application, how it works, you can always reach out to my team that will be able to assist in terms of that aspects of the processing. And Jenny May team, is there anything you want to add to that recap?
I think we're good.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yes.
Oh, wait, one thing. I'm so sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Christy too. The only thing when we're talking about changes, sometimes we get questions about the pool has been certified, and I need to change my settlement date. If you need to change your settlement date, or if you need to change your settlement instructions, that's fine. That's an easy edit. And you just need to send an email to Jenny May 1, or I tell Isra send it directly to Yvonne Mona. But
that's perfectly fine too. What we usually encourage is Gen May 1, because what happens, my customer service team members also will see the email, and if Mona has not seen the email, we can forward it to her. But you always can put it to Yvonne Mona or Narita Bradshaw to make a change to your delivery instructions, or sometimes people want to change the position amount. And if that's the case, then we have enough time, we'll encourage a person. If it's too late, the pool, you cannot delete the pool anyway. So we'll have them to send us the information of the new breakdown of the subscriber information, or you want to change your delivery date, send the email through GenMay 1 so the changes can be made. Thank you, Michelle. I forget that piece. Yes, that's a good tip.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Any questions before we move into document custodian transfer requests? Thank you. And the reason why we usually put the document custodian transfer request here, because people always get a little bit confused what to do and how to do this. And I should tell you, especially the ones who use GennyNet, we're working on a new version of this. So I hope when it comes out, it will be more intuitive to the users. It will be much easier to follow, and you'll be able to get your document custodian transfers much easier. Because I know this version, and I've heard it from Jenny May, and I've heard it from some of the users. It can be a little bit cumbersome in terms of going through the process. So I know we're working right now in streamlining this and also make it a part of the entire My Genome space. So it could be coming out in a PDM by itself, the document custodian transfer piece. So look out for that. We're working on it. It's not near finish yet, but we're putting the pieces in to make sure we have a better product for you if your part of your responsibility is document custodian transfers. Okay, we just want to go through the types of the custodian transfers. Of course, right now it's done on GennyNet. Overview of the document custodian transfers and the request process and some quick tips. And for the document custodian transfer, there are 4 types of transfer right now. There's a complete document custodian transfer. That means all your portfolio is going from one custodian to the next. There's a partial document custodian transfer. You have some of your portfolio is going to custodian B and you're leaving some with custodian A, or you're sending some to custodian A, B, and C, and you're leaving some with custodian A. That's a partial transfer. Then you have the complete document custodian merger and the partial document custodian merger. Complete and partial transfer requests. Recertification of transferred pools are due 12 months from the effective date of transfer. Complete and partial merger requests do not require new recertification of the effective transfer pools. The status of the pool pre-merger will remain the same. Important thing to note here. Once issuers submit the transfer request, the new document custodian must certify the pending transfer request prior to the specified effective transfer date. Because you as an issuer, you're going to put in a transfer date and the custodian must meet that date before they transfer, go in and certify the transfer before that date. If it's done after, when that pool is downloaded to the mainframe or GenMaze system, it's going to get kicked out and say the date of transfer had passed. So you just want to be careful. And this is one of the things we want to make much clearer in the new system. I think if there's a transfer date available and the custodian miss it, we're trying to see if we can put some alerts in the system to remind them to say, hey, you have a transfer date of September 21. It's coming up. Please go in and do the transfer right away. So we're trying to make that system a little bit more intuitive to the users, both on the issuer side and the custodian side. That is something we talked about because the current system where GennyNet is set up, although you put in a date of 9/19, no, today's what date? The 15th. 9/15 and the custodian is going to do it on Monday. That certification still happens up front, but it fails in the back end. So if we could put in some notice saying, hey, custodian, there's a transfer out there, please make sure you can certify between a such date, it allows the users, at least the custodian, to go in and see that. So those are things that we're thinking about to add to make the process a little bit more efficient when we go into in that new space. Okay, and this is just showing you what the screens in GennyNet looks like for the document custodian transfer, where you would do it. You see right here is where you'll go in and Once information is set up, you go in and do the submission. And of course, you submit using your token and your credential to the custodian. Custodian gets a notification telling them that there's a document custodian transfer out there for them to do. But I should also, and that's would be outside of the system now, what kind of arrangements you have with that custodian to get those documents over. I know some custodians do not want to do the transfer until they have physical documents on hand, but that is something that is outside of the space of GenNet. That is something you'd have to discuss and come up with some agreement with the new custodian when they can go in and do the certification. Because the truth is, people don't want to certify on something that they really don't have. If you say you're selling over 1,000 pools, they don't want to go in and just say certify and they haven't got the physical pool. So those are the arrangements you have to make outside of the GenNet space when you're getting ready to do your document custodian transfers. Okay, we have a demo. I think this one is a voiceover. So I'm gonna have the demo played and then I'm gonna try and go through it as the screens come up to just give you an idea of what happens. Okay, you're gonna log in the system with your user ID and password, just like how you log into MyGenMA. On the tools, you're gonna select GenNet. Once you close that piece and you go to the main menu, on the GenNet, you're going to choose certification. And on the common, you're going to choose document custodian transfer. On that screen, you're going to click on new. And then it brings up the 4 parts of it. And you're going to choose the one that works for you for that day. We're going to choose partial. Then make sure you fill in the necessary information, the transfer date, the authority information, and the consideration that most of the time you'll find on the back of your 11715 form. Then you're going to add the custodian. The previous custodian. You have 2 options. You can actually do an import or you can enter the pool manually. We're showing how to do an import here. This is a partial. So we also have partial, but we also have some existing, so it's a partial, so we still have to list per GenMA. We have to list all the pools that are still remaining with the other custodians. And this is a part of the thing, I think for the new version, we need to make sure we clarify and make it a little bit easier for the users. Once the information is in, let's put in the pool numbers now. We're going to do add or import. Let's add some pool manually. And only need to do the import or to add a pool. You don't need the pool type or issue type. You just need a 6-digit pool number. And make sure these pool numbers do belong to you, and make sure where you're sending them, they're supposed to go to the right custodian. But there's a due diligence check on the back end for these pools to make sure they're transferred to the right. They're actually leaving the current custodian to the new custodian. Once you enter the pool manually, and I would suggest if you have a small amount and you want to do the manual entry, fine. But if you have thousands of pool, best to build an import file to import that information in. So we have this is a partial. and you still added. So we have two custodians here. What's going? Save successfully. Once this is done, we'll go to host communication, or let's go to reports first. And it's supposed to kind of generate 11,715. And I know this is one of Jenny Mae's pain points, how the listing come out. And we're trying to modernize that as we go along in terms of the process. We're going to generate that 11,715, and it should have the pool listing, what is going where and who is getting what and what is remaining. We're submitting the report. We're waiting until the status change to complete so we can actually view that 11,715. So as a change, waiting for the change to complete so we can actually start printing the form. Good. And there's a form now that's going to be generated. 11,715 with the new custodian information. That's the new custodian, our test ID. And then at the bottom, it tells you who the issuer is and who actually the custodian is. Now, this is the first piece, Highland Mortgage, and these pools are, the custodian is 00038. The existing custodian is 536. And you'll see that's on the pool list too. So I'm gonna show the list. This is pool list 2. This is showing all the existing custodian. So these pools are remaining with the custodian. They're not changing. They're not moving. And they're still on there. The new custodian is Chase Bank. Then it comes up with the other pool listing now. This is the one that's changing. 00038, this list. And I said earlier, we listen and we hear everybody pain points, and we're going to try and make this a little better. There's another list too, because these are also remaining with custodian, with the custodian 622. Should be another list coming up. And these are the pools that are going to be transferred. These are the pools that are going to the new custodian. So these are the pools that will change in the back end on Jenny Mae's system to that new custodian. So this is all the listing and the 11.7. I should let you know this 11.715 does not change. It does not change what was initially submitted via MAMS, but if you're doing a document custodian transfer, of course, you would have to generate and create a new 11.715 if all your documents are going to that new custodian. This is how we go in and do the submission. That's what we're showing here. Once we highlight the information, we click on submit, then you go to your RSA token information and you put in your credentials and from the RSA token, and you do the submission. So that was just a very quick thing with document custodian transfer. Just to let you know, there are we have done a webinar on this already, and I think we have done another document custodian transfer. Those are out there on the Jenny Mae website. And the recordings are out there if you want to go through those. And if you're still not clear on what to do and you want us to walk you through this personally, don't hesitate to call one of my team members so you can go through it, because we want to get this right. Because you know what happens? If we're doing a document custodian transfer and you're supposed to be doing a partial and you went and did a complete, that means if you have 1,000 pools, All those 1,000 pools will be changing hand to the new custodians you have there. Maybe that's not what you wanted to do. You wanted to do a partial. So what I don't want my group, my staff to do is tell you what you should do. We want to help you to identify what you want to do. We don't want to say you need to do a complete. We want to guide you to what you want to do. We don't want to tell you, because if the team tells you the wrong thing, we have to go back to Generate to do a reversal. And we don't want to do that, because that's painstaking to go behind the scenes and do reversal of these transactions. We have done quite a few, because issuers actually did not know what to do and they went in and do the wrong thing. So all their portfolios either went over to one custodian, and that's a mess on their end. So they have to reach out to Generate to do a reversal. So that's a short thing on document custodian transfer. And let's go to the next slide. I just want to give you some quick tips here. For document custodian transfer or merger, the issuer is required to submit a complete pool list. Yes, that's how it is. If you're doing that's just when the system was built back in the days. You have to submit those complete lists. For a partial document custodian transfer or merger, the issuer is required to submit a complete list of the pools being transferred, as well as the pool listings for existing document custodian. Yes, that can be a little bit just cumbersome in doing that. So you'd have to submit the pools that are going to the new custodian, and then you'd have to list all the pools that are remaining with your existing custodian. So that's a lot of listing you have to get together to put in the current system. It should enter an effective date of transfer as a business day of the month, and at least 3 days past the current date, and not more than 6 months past the current date. And you want to also share this date with your custodian, because if you put in a date 3 days from today, that means you're looking to do the transfer on that 3 days from today. If the document custodian is not aware of that, and they did not even realize that a document custodian transfer request was coming over, they could have missed that date. And if they certify a day later, it's going to get kicked back on the back end, because they did it late, and the system does not stop them from doing the transfer because of the change date there. So we're hoping to add that into our new developed system, so users can get reminders before they actually do the transfer. If a pool is transferred with a final certs pending, then when the new issuer completes the pending final certification, that certification will close out both the final certs and the pending recertification from the recent transfer. If a pool is transferred with a final certs pending, then when the new issuer completes the pending final certification, the certification will close out both the open final certification and pending recertification from the recent transfer. An e-notification of approval or rejection is sent to the issuer and new document custodian. I always say we send these notices, but there's nothing nowadays than picking up the phone and say, hey, custodian, I'm sending over a document custodian transfer, and all your documents are also coming over with a transfer. Could you make sure you do your due diligence and approve before the date of transfer? Because they might miss the notification. Sometimes we do. We get tons of email nowadays in our new workspace. So just a phone call is also not going to hurt. Pool listing may be imported or entered directly into GeniNet. That it depends on how you want to do it. I would say if you have 1,000 pool, Gail, don't want to sit there and enter 1,000 pool numbers. So I would build an import file layout, which can be found in the GeniNet handbook. If you need us to send that to you because you want to do the document custodian transfer by doing an upload, just let me know. You can send a request to jenime1@bnymellon.com and make the request there, and we'll get that file layout and we'll send it off to you. And just also want to tell you where the document custodian transfer in the GenNet manual starts is page 89. Those are some quick tips. I think we have one more poll. So can we launch that poll? Thank you very much. Complete and partial merger requests do not require a new recertification of the effective transfer pool. The status of the pools per merger will remain the same. I mentioned that on one of the slides not too long ago. Oh, there's a fight between true and false. Who is gonna win? Where am I putting my money? Where am I putting my money? Ah, there you go. Oh, it's the answer is actually true. It's still a 50-50s, but the answer, yes, the answer is true. The pre-merger status will remain. Thank you very much. Next question, please. How many types of document custodian transfer requests are available? Are there 6? Are there 3? Are there 4? Document custodian, the type of transfers. That was like on the second slide, the type of transfers. Six, 3, and 4. And our answer is 4. You have the document custodian complete transfer, partial transfer, complete merger, and partial merger. So it's actually 4. Thank you. Let's go to the third one. Currently, all document custodian transfer or merger are processed on IPMS, that's GenMate's backend system, MFPDM, or GenNet. Currently, all document custodian transfer are processed on IPMS, MFPDM, and GenNet. I'll give 2 people if 1 minute they want to change their mind. Hint. Okay, thank you for your answer. That is actually GenNet. Right now, document custodian transfers are processed via GenNet. What we're doing now, we're working on a PDM so to launch, to put out there on the GenMate, my GenMate space, so users can go in there and do their document custodian. But that is to come. We're just getting the user stories together and compile all that stuff. So we have something that GenMate will approve when, and the users will find much more intuitive when it's available. So currently, all document custodian transfers are done on the legacy GenNet system. Thank you again for your participation. Question and answer. Are there any questions or any concerns, anything that we mentioned from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 that you need any clarification on? Just want to make sure we use this time wisely and give you the information if we have it right there. As I always tell you, this is usually Getaway Friday. Our sessions are usually shorter, but we still have time for question and answers. Anything on the GenMate space, anything on the GenMate side you want to just, before we wrap up this session, you want to emphasize, you just want to let the issues are aware of? Michelle, Jennifer, Chris?
Yeah, Wade, we just wanted to remind everyone that next week we have the investor reporting training, another 3-day training with 3 sessions structured similar to this week's training. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time, and if you're having any trouble registering, just reach out to your account executive, and we can help you through that. But we're looking forward to another week of training.
Okay. Any other questions or any concerns? Well, I just want to say it was my pleasure presenting this to you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made sense. I hope you were able to learn something from this. And you just want to, let's just go to our resources. There's a lot of resources out there. Use them, get the information. If you're not clear on anything, don't hesitate to reach out to the GenMay AEs, or if it's an application issue, need us to walk you through things, don't hesitate to do that, because we want to make sure you're able to do the process and it's and it's easy going to you. There's times you're going to have hiccups, either access issue or something, but in terms of doing the pools, just want to make sure you have the right information on how to go about doing it. So I want to thank you for your time. I hope this was useful. And again, thank you, Toyid, and thank you, Michelle, and everybody who took part. And have a nice weekend. And I'm going to take it back to, was it Krista? So Ryan can start the poll.